Hey guys, what's up? This is Shift Break with Alex and Nick. Hope everybody's doing fine. Alex, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man. How are you? Excited for the new season?
I'm doing fine. Yes. This is the reason I just wanted to actually start this podcast. We've been talking about F1 for such a long time. Like, I feel like almost the entire life of us. And now that we are sitting together on this podcast, it kind of is very surreal. But let's do it. I'm kind of excited.
It feels strange, but it's exciting at the same time.
True. So I just want to dive into it directly. How do you like the cars, by the way? This is 2026. Huge rule regulation has been changed. The last time when we had seen this was long time back, and now it's 2026. Huge change. We are coming out of McLaren winning the constructors, and a new champion. By the way, we have Lando Norris was won it, and now we have the new cars with new designs. What's your way on it?
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but even during the livery reveals, I think even looking at them in Bahrain, they had some modifications looking at Audi and Cadillac. They mentioned some
Hmm.
changes to the front wings from when they did the livery, and so maybe cars will change even a bit more. But from what I've seen, some stick to the solid look. Some did a little bolder change. Of course, we see the new team in Audi and Cadillac. They have a completely different outlook to them. So the grid's looking interesting, I must say.
Which is your favorite? Which is your favorite color grid now, right now? Which is the favorite livery you have?
I have to say, I do like the looks of the Cadillac, the Haas.
Oh,
I think I think the change of the Red Bull team going from that
mm,
matted,
to
darker
the blue one.
blue to more of a glossy, I think it looks pretty good.
Mm,
Williams,
mm,
solid, I would say.
yeah.
Ferrari is the same.
Mm,
Same with McLaren. I really think they're the same, except I kind of like the black in between, the orange, black, orange look. Looks
hmm
sleek. I'm kind of on the fence with the Mercedes. Kind of, sometimes they look
mm.
good. Sometimes I'm like, not sure. But the one I was surprised
I
with,
guess.
and I want your thoughts on this, is the
Mhm,
Aston Martin look. Because when they revealed it
mm,
in Barcelona, it looked a bit different than it
mm,
looked in Bahrain. I don't know what you think.
mm. No, and I have so much to talk about Aston Martin right now. But you know what? You would be
I
actually
think everybody
surprised
wants to
that
talk
the
about them.
car which yeah, there is, and I would like to bring your attention to one small thing which had happened. Sky Sports was interviewing Lance Stroll, and he actually condemned the car by saying, the car is off by 4.5 seconds than the top leading teams. 4.5 seconds, dude. That's like, I don't know, like F1 car and some F4 car in the same grid.
I mean, in layman's terms, 4.5 seconds may not sound much, but on the grid, it's an
True.
eternity. If you want to be competing, if you want to actually win, being 4.5 seconds in testing, that's massive. So I don't
It's like
know. I
four
don't know
laps
what's going
down.
on.
Four
Yeah.
laps down every race or whatever. I hope they can because I kind of trust in Adrian Newey a lot. I do, and he has done an amazing job in whichever team he has been from McLaren's to now to Red Bull and now in Aston Martin. I kind of feel like I need to trust him a bit. But when there is a dependence so much on the hybrids situation of the engine, I guess maybe his expertise might not be there. Let's touch more on it a little bit later, but yeah, because I have so much to talk about it. But yeah, but what do you think about the Bahrain testing, dude? Like, that's the first official side. I know in Barcelona they went in a very suspicious way where no cameras were allowed, even though we get to see few. But this was the official testing, and if I look at the times table right now and bring to your attention, this was very interesting. And if let's remind you, everybody who was going into this kind of suspected this that Mercedes is going to do crazy good, Ferrari is going to do good, and Red Bull might not do good that good. There were question marks on McLaren, high hopes for Aston Martin, and what are the new teams going to do. But ultimately, when all the 3 day session ended, Kimi Antonelli actually was the fastest guy. So I don't know if we have to weigh on this because there is a lot of changes these guys do, and they do a lot of sandbagging too, as you already know. But if you look at the grouping of it, I'll put it out there also on this for the viewers' view. Kimi internally was the fastest. Then you had Russell. If not anything else, if you just purely look into this, I feel it is very clear that Mercedes has something special in this car. The third and the fourth also is Ferrari. So the engine manufacturing which are going into this season should be kind of favorites. What do you think? Let me complete that thing. One was Kimi, second was George, third was Lewis, fourth was Charles. This was accumulation of all 3 days, and fifth was Oscar, sixth was Lando, seventh was Max, and I guess everything else other than that below that is kind of redundant because it's I feel it's this is what we are going to concentrate majority of the season on. So what do you think about that?
Um, when it came to the Bahrain testing days, it was not much as what we saw, but what they didn't show us. Because I
Mm,
felt like there was a lot of, hiding, especially on the Ferrari part. A lot of people are putting the sandbagging term mostly towards them. And then also, I don't know if you noticed this, but I have never seen a Mercedes team, both drivers, principal, talking so highly about Red Bull during testing. Both Russell, Toto, they were really trying to act as well as they could,
cover
like
up.
trying to say,
Yeah.
oh, they were a second faster than us. Oh, the Red Bull car, you should have seen the Red Bull car, their gearbox. Oh, it's going to be tough competing with them.
Mm,
And you have to take that with more than a grain of salt, I think,
mhm,
because yeah, it's more like the notion that teams aren't really ready to show the full capabilities of their cars because there's a huge change. There's a
mhm,
huge change to the aerodynamics, to the engine compartments, the 50-50 ratio split between the machine and the
mhm,
battery in the power unit and
mhm,
the self-automated DRS from the
mhm,
driver's side. There's just so many components
mhm.
to every car that I don't think they want to show each other during testing. So, as much as we can look at it, uh, the complete picture will not show itself fully until after the first race or two.
But I
But
still do
what
believe, I would like to say, yeah, I still do believe the engine manufacturers, like which are predominantly Mercedes and Ferrari, let's say these two teams, and then you have Red Bull. I feel these teams will dominate because they are making their car to adapt to the engine. And the other way around, the other teams are adapting to the engine which is going to be fit into their car. Like, for example, McLaren's or any other team, they're adapting to the engine. And this is kind of very important. I feel Mercedes kind of has the edge to it.
they could, they very well could. But to me, it's not the race times that was the most interesting. When you're looking at
Mhm.
the testing, I'm looking at which cars completed the most laps and the most distance in testing.
Yeah.
That's the most statistic that I'm looking at because we're looking at like the top five are Williams, McLaren, you got Haas, and I
Mhm.
think if you look at Williams and Haas in particular, they were getting middle of the pack times, but the car performance
Mm.
overall was more and more solid. And that's the kind of the biggest indicator to me was that their cars are looking pretty good. Like I was impressed with the overall stability of their cars. But you compare that to Aston Martin, who were the bottom of the pack, you can get the picture.
Mm.
So
422 laps with Carlos and Alex both together did that. So it's kind of impressive.
that's a
Yeah.
lot. If you're running
Mm.
your car, that many laps, you've got confidence. I think
True.
Val's coming into this season thinks that they got a decent car to get points, maybe podiums. Who knows?
Mm. But there's a big shocker, and everybody, even Sky Sports, BBC, everybody, they are very shocked about one car and one team, which they thought is going to lack a lot of performance. And I think you've already guessed it. It is Red Bull Ford. They are Red Bull powertrain. They were actually surprised to actually see how powerful they are on straights. And this is not a norm just by one of the two publications out there. Majority of the publications out there are seeing this. Maybe it's again the max magic, but if you look at the same timesheet which I presented, I was trying to say 2 minutes back, in that timesheet, I'm kind of excited to see Isaac, dude. He is there with Max. He's not that far, and around just one second around him, it's not bad. And in testing, and if he keeps up this, maybe it's gonna be good.
Yeah, Max is going to be Max. I think that will be a constant this season. We have zero worries about this guy. I think if he figures out all the DRS mechanics quick, which I expect him, him, Lewis, Fernando, you could say are the most experienced and more accomplished drivers. So those are the ones I'm looking at to figure out this self-automated DRS. So I think it's going to be exciting.
Mm.
We'll see how the McLaren drivers fare.
Lando is high on confidence. To be really fair, a lot of people don't give him the credit for last season because, yeah, everybody was like in awe with what Max did with that stupid car. Let me paraphrase as stupid as really it was. But Max did overdrive the car and it was what it is. But people need to understand that, if you have a good car, you still need to bring the performance out of it on constant basis. And with so much of pressure when you are already the favorite and the first time ever you're chasing a title where it looks like you're going to win it, I think very less credit goes to him and he deserves to be the champion, dude. He, at the end, got the points. Oscar was very good too. Behind him, Max was chasing him. But at the end of the thing, he did it. So I will not count him out. And he would be one of the contenders along with George, maybe.
Yeah, last season, yes, they had the fastest car, and I think if you put Max, you put even Lewis or Fernando in that McLaren car, they probably would be champions too. But whether you have the fastest car or not, you're still expected to deliver. And credit to Lando where it's due. He did deliver it, albeit there's still some tension behind the scenes with favoritism from Zach to Lando and what he
Let's not
gives to
touch that.
Oscar. But
Yeah.
that's for another day.
Yeah. So, just to wind up that situation about interesting, whom do you see as favorites? Like just one team, maybe, if you could name.
I would say right now, I would go with a three-way between Ferrari, Mercedes, and McLaren. I
Ferrari,
think the
Mercedes, and
focus
McLaren.
of the Ferrari cars has been their start package,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they've been intentionally sandbagging, as most people have been speculating. I think that is the case.
Mm.
And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how they start. If Ferraris start the way we think they will, then it can it can be very competitive for sure.
It would be fun to see if Ferrari can actually do it, or more importantly, if Lewis can also join the party. It would be firecrackers all over. And I miss him, actually. To be really fair, 2021 was my best season and my favorite season in the years which I can remember. And he was fighting a young lion, and he did not back up. And he was with, interestingly, that season is still remembered for all the wrongdoings, but we kind of forget that Lewis came from behind. to actually be in a situation where he could challenge Max too, because the Red Bull car was also good. And I kind of feel it is really bugging him on his brain and it's weighing him a lot. The 2021 nightmare has
Yeah.
not gone, and I wish really that he does it because he is the one of the best, if not the best.
Do you think he's still in it though?
I feel so because whenever he comes to the same circuit every time, there is images of him really, not wanting to talk to anybody and just be with his own self. And I kind of feel for him because there was so much of wrongdoing in it. But whatever, Max is the champion on that, and then on we just have Max rolling over and just been halted by Lando, for if not for Lando last season. So that brings me to the interesting conversation. Which driver do you think will knock it out of the park this year?
Oh, a big part of my heart wants to
Don't tell
see
me Lance
Charles.
Stroll. Don't say Lance Stroll.
Oh, I mean, wouldn't that be
That would
something?
be something, dude.
Him and his dad
Yeah,
holding
if
the
that
trophy.
happens, if that
Yeah,
happens,
no,
either the season is fixed or Lance Stroll is that done good.
yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully neither are the situation, but um, yeah, a big chunk of my heart wants to go with Charles because I just felt the pain, man. It's been so
Mm.
rough watching him these last few years of Ferrari. He really puts his all in, but it's just not been happening.
He has to just be
Realistically,
consistent.
I can't go with Russell either because he hasn't given me any indications that he's got the grit. Like he's at the same spot I would say was in like a couple of years ago, where like yeah,
True.
he's got a good car, he's got talent and stuff, and he can win you a race or two. But to consistently, be on the podium and become a champion with pressure, we've never seen that. So I can't say Russell
True.
either. So between me, I will have to say it's gonna be between Max and Lando again. Unless McLaren start favoring Oscar, then he can put his name in there. Nah.
I have to give it to. I still believe this fight is between Ferrari and Mercedes. And if Max can be Max with that, to paraphrase, Max is not enjoying driving this car because he feels that there's so much to do in this car, and which we'll talk about maybe at the end of this video. But he's not that type of guy. He wants to do as less as possible. He wants to drive it as smooth as possible, and he has to. He feels like there's so much of optimization on the driver to actually emphasize on it to do this thing, that thing. So he's not enjoying it, and you might even hear things in the mid of the season that he doesn't enjoy F1 anymore, and because he's doing so many other things around. And this is not just a rumor; it might turn out to be true. So, but if anybody can do it, I will never want to count him out. For
No.
me, the title fight will always be between Charles and Russell. But if Max stands out and finds a grid to be on that same level, I feel like he's trying to find way out of doing something different where he can optimize the car, which he was doing last year too, and he was still short. So
I feel
the fight for me is Charles, Russell, and Max.
I feel that in order to be successful this year, battery optimization seems to be like the way to go. Whoever can optimize the battery charge during every race the most, I feel somehow that's going to play too much of an impact. So we'll see.
2026, as we know, has come up with so many rules and regulations and changes. But the major changes in this was a big talking point for everybody was the engine compression loop, the ratio. This is
Hmm.
basically a simple story where this compression of the cylinders are adjusted in such a way that you can squeeze in as much as fuel as possible. And then it is measured, and that ratio defined in FIA's guidelines was 16.1. And Funny enough, there were two teams who had tried to be over smart or smart enough to extract some kind of loophole in this saga. I am sure you know also know, and everybody in F1 community by now knows. So they're trying to, in short, there is no situation where when the engine in its running form is hot and there is no measurement of it in hot condition, and these people have found a way of changing this ratio to a higher number around 18, and that means that it can squeeze more and then it can generate more power. And that's the reason I feel even Red Bull was, stronger on straight.
Yeah, loopholes are there to be exploited, so you can't really fault Mercedes and Red Bull in that case of
Mm,
showing, hey, it didn't say in the rules. So unless they change the rules and say,
mm,
okay, this is going to apply to heated conditions and cold conditions of expansion
mm.
rate, but I think this is every year. Every team does something and the other teams are not happy about. This is not a first, so business as usual.
So just to sum up, then, what do you think? Are you excited for this season? First of all, I am.
One thing I'm worried about is because of the new engine battery ratio. The engine is basically the same, the 1.6 V6 hybrid engine, but they added the now a 300 kilowatt 350 kilowatt battery,
Mm,
and they removed the MGU-H part
mm,
out of the machine. And I'm worried for safety measures if FIA are sleepwalking into this issue because having the
mm,
cars now revving up on the start line for at least 10 seconds to rev up the turbo, I mean,
mm.
should there not be safety concerns? What do you think?
Well, yeah, safety concerns for sure. Yes. Problem with it is, like, imagine this: they need around 10 seconds to heat up the engine or charge the battery up. Around 10 seconds. So when they are in the standalone position of wanting to start from the grid, they will have to rev the car that much for 10 seconds and get the battery charged. If something goes wrong, what you're saying is absolutely correct. But what if some of the cars don't start then? Because imagine the last car on the grid will have to be counted in a different way. It's very complicated. I don't know how they're going to find a way of actually directing this. But yeah, it's just complicated, and that's one of the major problems. But I am
We
excited. There
had
is one more new team. Mm,
we had
sorry.
almost just an issue on day three where Colapinto couldn't stop his car when they were lining
Yeah.
up.
Yes.
I don't know. Like I said, sleepwalking. I hope they are addressing this behind the scenes and trying to
But
put some countermeasures or because it will be interesting, especially if you're standing or sitting there and you're listening to the cars revving for 10 seconds each, you start wondering,
true,
worrying
true.
even.
I think that's what it is. It's going to be worrying, but it's not going to be less of excitement. 2026 Australian GP. I mean, it's good that they're starting with Australian GP because I have so many great memories from this circuit, and yeah, I'm looking forward for it. What are your final words?
Yeah, always liked Melbourne. Always liked the track, the conditions, and always a great start to a season. Weird starting it without Ricardo, I have to
Hmm.
say, but still exciting. Bring it on.
So yeah, I think we can actually end this one and look for more interesting news. And guys, if you like some this kind of content, please do support us. We are just an F1 enthusiast who want to talk about it. Join us in comment sections, and we will talk, discuss, and maybe have some fun along the way. So this is Shift Break signing off. See you guys.
Thank you. Bye.